All right, it's going to take a bit of time to just bring everything up. Okay, so this is going to be a fun one. I'm looking forward to it. And I do have questions about Webhaven as well. I've got a potential.
Of course you do.
Of course. No, just how you're kind of doing things. Okay, so this is saying it's going. Oh, there we go. Okay. Can you hear an echo by any chance?
No.
Okay, good. That means that my local audio is not coming through. Sometimes that happens. I've done that by accident. Okay. All right, so we are going to start. Let's give it. What's the time? That's always 2 minutes. That's fine. All right. So we got LinkedIn going. We have. Well, no, we don't have LinkedIn actually. Is it loading up? Okay. So that's all. So LinkedIn, it always takes about a minute. Here we go. Okay. We'll leave that there. And we've got, all right, that's all coming through. I'll keep an eye on the comments. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting stream tonight. So we'll just give it one more minute. And it's going to be a fun one. Got a special guest. Looking forward to it. First guest on the stream. And I like to always just wait until, what's the time? Should really have a countdown. I noticed that streamers often have like the clock behind them. And I'm like, you know what? That's a smart idea. That is a smart idea. So as soon as it hits 8:30 our time, we get right into it. Because, yeah, I don't have a whole bunch of stuff happening, which is great. Okay. So we might as well just jump straight into it. So tonight, I've got a special live stream. It is a celebrating Drupal's 25th birthday, and I'm actually streaming a day before, so there won't be any live streams tomorrow. So that means I can get Friday night back, which is great. I can watch Netflix or something. But tonight I've got a special guest, and this is my first time having another person on the stream, and so I'm just kind of excited to actually bounce ideas, talk to him, and so I'd like to introduce Fons Vandamme from Webhaven. He has joined me. So Fons, if you want to just introduce yourself quickly.
Hello, what an honor to be here. So my name is Fons, and I have been using Drupal for 16 years, and I'm creating a Drupal platform called Webhaven right now. And I think we'll probably talk about it today next to the celebrations.
Absolutely. I feel like I do need, there must be some graphic. I should have prepared this earlier. I should have added some graphic to it. I think, can we do that? Look at that. That is Christmas. That isn't even. Apologies for that. Apologies for that. What is that one? Oh, there we go. There we go. Better. Drupal's 25th birthday. So, if people do not know, today is Drupal's 25th birthday. It has been around for a quarter of a century, which is it's a bit scary. I feel like everyone in the Drupal community, scary because everyone in the Drupal community, everyone knows, everyone's seen the stats that the Drupal community is getting older, okay? We are getting absolutely older. And so to be around for a quarter of a century, when I started in like 2006, 2007-ish, I think I don't even want to see what my Drupal.org profile is. Do you know how old your Drupal.org profile is, by any chance?
Oh, I think 16 years old.
16.
Yeah.
16. Oh, okay. So mine is 19 years and 3 months. There you go.
Okay.
It's nearly 20 years old. So yeah, which is that's just I just feel old. Well, I am old. I'm in my mid-40s. So
I didn't want to say it, but I think we are old.
Yes, absolutely, we are. And so, I mean, let me ask you, what was your like Drupal origin story? How did you start? How did you choose Drupal?
I didn't really choose it, so it's a funny story. I was studying computer science, and we had a lab test, and Drupal. We had to install Drupal there because I'm from Belgium.
Oh, of course.
Drupal is made by Dries Buitaert. So the lecturer was like, we had to set up a LAMP stack on our computer and install Drupal on it.
Oh, nice.
And that was my first introduction to it.
Yeah.
But I didn't really use it then, so I set it up and I didn't look at it for a few months. But then I had to go for an internship. And there was this internship in a big company, and I really wanted to go there, but they were looking for someone who knew Drupal. So I kind of told them that I was a Drupal expert, but I was not. And I got the internship, and I remember on the way home, I started to panic, but I had 2 or 3 months to prepare. So then I consumed everything that was on the internet about Drupal. And on my first day there, I knew enough about Drupal to do the project. And it was the first Drupal project that they did. And it was a huge success.
Mm-hmm.
And the website of the company still is using Drupal. So they really adopted it. So, really nice experience.
Oh, very good. Very good. Yeah. My one was, I had a client that wanted a website and they wanted clean URLs. That was the most important part. Okay. It was all about just clean URLs. And every other platform out there, I think WordPress was just around, but do you remember Joomla?
Yeah, of course. I also used it.
Oh, okay. So Joomla had a paid for plugin, but you had to pay to get clean URLs, and Drupal had it for free. So I chose Drupal, and then that's kind of it. And then I was like, all right, Drupal's pretty good. Yeah, it's a decent CMS. This was Drupal 4 point something. I don't remember exactly, but it was version 4.
Okay.
And then I chose that. And that's how I kind of fell into it. And also I played around with the e-commerce module. This was the first, so this was before Ubercart, before the commerce module, the e-commerce module. And I think it was by a guy actually that was from Australia. He actually worked on it. And so then I was like, oh, you know what? It's pretty cool. You can build a CMS and you can have e-commerce functionality. And yeah, I mean, it's worked. Yeah, it worked pretty well. I don't know, these days, if you're going to use Drupal purely for e-commerce, I think there's a lot more platforms out there, but the world has changed, I think, since even the last 10, 12 years, the way you build websites.
I think it depends.
Yeah.
Some people really want to own the platform, and others are fine with just renting the platform. It depends.
Well, my thing with e-commerce has always been because I pretty much lived in Australia till a year and a half ago, pretty much my whole life. And so, all of my working experience is there. And one issue I found with Drupal commerce or just using any type of platform that isn't widely used is integration, because with e-commerce, integration is a huge part. And of course, they're not going to have good integrations with Australian platforms for shipping and payments and things like that. So you're always kind of scrounging things together. And this was before Stripe. I remember back in the day, there was, I forgot the name of it. There was one I think called eWay in Australia. This was before Stripe. Nowadays, people don't understand just how easy it is to do payments these days with say Stripe. That could be a bad thing and a good thing. Good thing being that it's easy. Bad because if you upset Stripe and you get kicked off their platform, you get kicked off, the one of the few platforms that actually supports it. But yeah, I mean, that was a huge thing for me when it comes to e-commerce. Just get, if you can use Shopify. Sometimes it's if you're just going to do e-commerce, use Shopify. But if you want full control over your platform and go full open source, understand that you are going to be dealing with shipping and billing and all that wonderful stuff. I've
also seen a Drupal website that was connected to the Shopify APIs.
Yeah.
And then you had the website in Drupal and the e-commerce in Shopify. And to me, it really felt like best of both worlds because marketing and the content people were on the Drupal side, and the shop and the operations and the stock pickers, and they were on the Shopify side. So it really depends on the use case. My advice is always, if you start, go for the easiest solution. For example, Shopify. When it grows, sometimes it's better to just make a bigger platform.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And in Drupal 7, I actually worked on a project, and this was in 2012, where they wanted to sell a car. So Subaru wanted to sell the BRZ. That was like a small sports car that they built with Toyota, and I think the Toyota calls it the 86. I don't know what's it called in Europe, but I know in Australia it's called the 86. It's probably called something else. I don't know if you can even buy the Subaru BRZ. But anyway, back then they wanted to purely sell it online. So they came to the agency that I was working at, and they were like, okay, we want to have this, we want to have a platform where people buy the car online. And so I used Drupal Commerce on Drupal 7 and built like a full custom like checkout system to purchase it. Of course, you wouldn't do that nowadays, of course. But I remember when it went live, we made it in the news because the site crashed.
Of course.
The site crashed. And there was a reason why. Like, it came down, and this is getting into real technical. Oh, there we go. We've got a first comment. Hello from Morocco. Hey, hello, how you doing? Hello. Wait, can I actually bring that up? Can I again? Oh, there we go. Oh, look, there we go. Hello.
Ooh.
Welcome.
Nice.
Yes. Didn't know I could do that. Yeah, but one of the bugs, and you will understand this, is that, okay, Drupal's great at extending things and things like that. So on a particular hook, I was loading up the invoice using, of course, the user ID. All right. You get the user ID, you load up the invoice to check a few line items. But of course, when you have 10,000 people checking the site, users will come to the site, they get a user ID of 0, and it creates an invoice attaching it to user ID of 0. And so what happened was everything kind of just like crashed because we all of a sudden had so much traffic, of course, loading up user ID of 0. It was loading up the invoices, and things just kind of crashed. So that's where, I thought I did testing, but that was where it's like, you want to make sure that, you want to be careful. It's like user ID 0. I don't know if that's going to work. Well, in Drupal 8, I think now in Drupal 8, like proper, well, Drupal 8 and above, sorry, or like next generation, if you'll call it that, whatever you call Drupal 8 and up, I think kind of handles states a bit differently. But yeah, that was like a whole day of just freaking out. And we were on AWS, and we just pumped it up like a lot of RAM and hoping for the best. And, eventually traffic died, but there's a certain point that it's not going to scale. It's not going to scale, and you just have to deal with it. So yeah, that was pretty stressful. But then after that, it was like, yeah, I really don't want to do e-commerce because it was just such a stressful, like, happy, crazy thing. And yeah, so that was my that was one of the many projects that I've worked on. Now, with you, I mean, have you worked on some big projects? Well, can you tell us about some interesting projects that you've worked on?
Yes, I've worked in a digital agency for 10 years, and we were specifically in Drupal. The name of the company was Entity One, so the first entity, and we worked on big projects for private companies, but also for government. I think one of the projects that was really big is VEB, so the Flemish Institute of Biotechnology. And we
Ooh.
made a Drupal platform for them.
Yeah.
And they could spin up websites in that platform. And I think at the time that I left, it had 180 Drupal websites that were running in it. But the cool thing was they had one brand, and all the websites were built that it had a brand template.
Yeah.
So if they would rebrand, it was really easy to rebrand all the websites and the platform, and security updates, monitoring of all the websites. So that's the first one that comes to mind. But there were a lot of cool projects, also e-commerce ones.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. And so like with this multi-site setup, was it like a Drupal multi-site setup or like domain access or things like that?
We've done everything. So single sites, multi-sites,
Oh, yeah.
multi-domain. But after creating a few, I never was really a big fan of the multi-domain approach.
Yeah.
I was more of a fan of the multi-site approach. Why? Because you could start in a multi-site and you could have, for example, 7 websites in it. And the moment you felt like one of these sites is getting different specs, you could just pull it out and it could go its own way.
Yeah.
Because what I've seen is some people in a multi-site, every website has its own specs, and it starts to get a dragon with 7 heads, and
that's it.
You don't want that. So a multi-site keeps the flexibility, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It's a question that always comes up whenever you work on a project where the client all gets excited. They're like, oh yeah, we can, for the price of one website, we can get unlimited amount of websites. And it's like, okay, yes, you can do that. But are you going to stick to certain things? Okay, you're building a product. You're not just building a website. You make one change on one website, and then you need to think about every other website that it's on. You really need to think about, you really need to think of it from a product standpoint. And it always happens like, yeah, the first couple months is fine, but then they start asking for things and kind of deviates. And then you end up spending way more time maintaining this to make sure it doesn't break in that. And I've always brought this up that, well, clients have to know the process. They kind of need to be trained on how to work with the development team in essentially how to build and buy a website. They need to work through that process. And that takes skill, but also I would say from a development standpoint, as a developer, your skill isn't writing code, especially nowadays. Like code can write itself. We've seen that. The skill really comes down to figuring out a problem and actually understanding what the problem is and understanding all the little nuances around that problem. Because I have so many times had this conversation where I am told, oh yeah, they want this and this functionality built. And I'm like, okay, we can do it that way, but if we do it just slightly different, then I can do it in 20% of the time, and it's going to save you all of this money. And just understanding that, where it's like communication is really the huge part, because once you understand how the system works, then writing the code's the easy part. And I always say that the code's a simple part. And I feel like nowadays that's even more so. Like, you can just prompt your way through a lot of things.
Yeah, I think it's a good reflex to have. People come to you and they say, we need this and this and this. And the first reflex you should have is, okay, why? What do you want to achieve? What do you want to achieve? And then, okay, what you're saying is a solution, but have you thought about this and this and this? And what do you think it will look like in 2 or 3 years? And based on that information, you'll probably give them another solution.
Yes.
But it's also a bit about trust. So I think that's the foundation of when people trust you, it's easier to come up together with a good solution. And it starts with asking why.
Yeah.
I
That's
felt
cool.
like in my job and the agency, a big part of it was skimming a lot of stuff and say, okay, we don't need that. We need to go to the bare essentials, go live, and then talk
Yeah.
to more customers. Because now you talked with 10 or 5, but
Yeah.
you have 1,000 customers. We need to go live ASAP with something that people will love. And then we go from there.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
it works, but it's not easy.
No, it's not. It's not. Absolutely
It
not.
sounds easy.
Yeah, because also you need to train up, like simple things, coming up with terminology that everyone can agree on is such a huge part, because it's like, okay, what is a component on a page? And this would be a perfect segue in what we're going to be talking about later. But it's kind of like, okay, a client, their definition of a module is different to mine, and that can be sometimes just coming up with a standard set of terminology and saying, okay, so what you're asking for is this and this. But coming back to the coming back to what you were saying about just asking why. One of my first questions whenever I start a new project, especially if it's a brand new project and they have decided on Drupal, my first question is, why Drupal? Because I've seen this often, and I'll be the first person to actually push back and say, I don't think Drupal is for you, because I get it. Like I get comments on my videos. Most of them are good, but I do get some irate people that are saying Drupal's crap, Drupal's this, Drupal's that's hard to install, it's rubbish, it's this and that. When Drupal CMS came out, everyone, like, I got a bunch of comments, not everyone, like I got one or two comments saying, oh, I thought Drupal CMS is going to be much easier to install, and now I'm told I need to use DDev to install it. Why do I have to use Composer and this and that? And it's like, and so I kind of, I get people's opinions a lot about Drupal, and a lot of the time it is, well, you need to work within its means. Like, Drupal is great for when you want full control over your stack, when you want full control over your content, when you don't want a platform that's half open source, but if you want decent enterprise functionality, you need to pay for it, which a lot of them are like that. And I know that before I moved here to Croatia, because I'm now living in Croatia, but I lived in Australia, I was working for a state government department in New South Wales, and we had a pretty awesome big Drupal setup where we used Drupal as a headless CMS. So you had Drupal with GraphQL, and you had Next.js and on the front end, and we had about 14 sites, okay? And it worked well, and you could control all the content from the one Drupal site, okay? And yes, we had a whole team of, JavaScript developers, and it was pretty much just me as the Drupal dev, and we had a team of like 6 of front enders, and that just shows you how well Drupal is. Of course, I had a great manager, and he would and my manager there was actually was a developer, so he kind of knew. So he knew the platform even more than me. So if I ever got stuck, he was like, oh yeah, you need to do this, this, and this.
Nice.
Yeah, and so, but it was, but you need to work within its means. That's the thing. Like, yes, Drupal is great for spinning up websites, but you really need to understand its strengths and weaknesses. And I'll be the first to admit, it's like, yeah, do you really want to spend this time maintaining a Drupal site? No, you don't. It's like, unless you want to host it as well. And that's one thing I'm trying to figure out now, especially with like a bunch of my content that I do. It's like, how can you spin up a Drupal site, but that's where you're not spending too much money? Like, what is the easiest and cheapest way to spin up a Drupal site? Because I feel like it's still not there. Like, yeah, you have a lot of these like Pantheon, Acquia. Well, I don't even think Acquia have their pricing anymore on the site. It's always you pretty much have to call them. And you have like, what is it, Upsun? But again, you're looking at a minimum. I think Pantheon, a minimum is like $25 a month.
Yeah.
And so, that's the first thing. It's like, why do you want to use Drupal? With great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah, that's true. But there are solutions for hosting, but then you mostly have to take care of it yourself. For example, all my stuff is running on a managed server of Hetzner.
Yeah.
So they take care of all the server stuff. I could do it, but I don't want to focus on it. So and I think it's €11 a month, and it's a big server, and it has six or seven Drupal projects running on it. So price-wise, that's kind of crazy, right? So
that is.
Maybe we should keep it silent so they don't bump the prices up after hearing me saying this. But Hetzner is a really good solution, I think.
Yeah. I've heard of them. But the thing is, though, the thing that I got coming back to Drupal CMS is that a lot of people assumed it'll be like a WordPress competitor. Oh, it's simple to install. It's like, well, okay, technically, and they also thought it was a brand new version of Drupal. And it's like, well, I'm not going to go through the intricate details of recipes. And technically, it's it's just the recipes have no runtime in it, and it's like you just install it and this and that. I'm not going to go and try and explain that. It's like technically it's just a Drupal site that comes pre-configured. But I think just having a and a lot of people were like, well, you can install WordPress easy on a platform, and so Drupal should be in a similar way. But that's one thing I want to kind of look at and actually figure out like a nice way of, and then of course write tutorials around that stuff and just figure out like a simple solution. So when people come to me, it's like, what, if you want to host a site on shared hosting, which at the end of the day, some people just want to host it on shared hosting, especially like tiny sites. How do you do that? Like, what is the simplest way of doing that?
Well, I wrote an article about it on my personal site, and it shows how you install a Drupal 11 website on Hetzner, and I even go into detail what settings you have to do on the Hetzner. But it's also something that I'm thinking about. How can we lower that barrier, or even make it into a service where people can just host websites by clicking a button and paying for the hosting subscription?
Absolutely. Well, then with that, do you want to take us through your project on what you've been working on?
Yes. So Webhaven is a project that I'm working on. So it's 16 years of experience that comes together in Webhaven. I stopped working at the agency because I felt like every day was starting to become the same pattern. Some people really like that. I didn't like that. So it felt like everything was repeating. So I needed to do something new. And then I was sitting at home thinking, okay, I've worked 15 years with Drupal.
Yeah.
If a friend would come to me and ask, Fons, I need this, I don't have anything. And everything is in my head now, but I don't have it somewhere. And then I started to build like a madman to capture all that experience in a platform. And that's when Webhaven was made, first in my head and then in a real repo. So I worked on it for a few months to figure everything out. Then it was done. I was going to release it, and then Drupal Canvas came out, and I checked Drupal Canvas. I saw your video, and I started to cry because I wanted to make the best Drupal platform, and I saw all that work because the original Webhaven was made with Layout Builder, and I saw all those late evenings and those hours of work. And I was just going to strip everything because to me, then it was clear that Drupal Canvas was the way to go.
Yeah.
And now I'm in the rewrite of Webhaven. I'm almost there, so I can show you where I'm at now.
Yeah, sure. Take us through it. Because I've got many questions about like Canvas and how you kind of done things, and
I don't know if you can see my screen.
oh, it's coming up right now. There we go.
Yeah, so Webhaven, just like Drupal CMS, has an installer. I won't show you the install right now, but it's something that I will document in a video really soon. So now what you're seeing now is the empty state of Webhaven. So you set it up and it has a menu and it has optional recipes. Now it's really the bare bones. There's nothing special in it, only best practices that every Webhaven project launches with. So you see a homepage where it says, welcome to Webhaven. So Webhaven is a site starter. And to me, it's the best way to start with a Drupal website and build it really fast. So it tells you how you can build your first page, you can define the look and feel, you can add socials. I have documentations, video tutorials, but I have to still make them, so they are not out yet, and a support page. And then I answer what Webhaven is and for who it's made. So it's a rock solid foundation for every project that you want to make in Drupal.
Yeah.
And it's made for, I want to make it for Drupal newcomers and learners. For that group, it's to lower the barrier to make something. I'm also thinking about building challenges. For example, I'll show you how you can make your first personal Drupal website using Webhaven. It's also for seasoned Drupal experts who already use Drupal, but now want to use the latest and the newest stuff, for example, Drupal Canvas, and also for ambitious agencies to lower the risk for them. For example, agencies who want to start servicing Drupal because they hear there's a lot of stuff in AI going with Drupal. But they think offering a new technology can be risky. Using Webhaven will lower that barrier and that risk a lot. And then you can connect with me, and you can also share your project with me, so I can put it on the Webhaven website. And then to show an example, I've made a Drupal Canvas page to celebrate today. So we are clearing the cache for 25 years now in Drupal. A quarter century, which sounds really crazy. And also that Drupal is perfectly positioned for the age of AI. It's something that I also think is important with Webhaven. For the people who want to work AI first, I think Webhaven will be the perfect platform. For people who don't want to use AI and do everything manually, they can do that also. But the platform is made to leverage AI. Why? Because it has so much components in it with best practices. And I'm documenting it for the agent so it can see what's in Webhaven now, how it's structured. And if you want to make up new stuff in the prompt, it has the perfect basis to go from. So don't forget to subscribe to WebWash. Then here you see a few components. So a hero, a video, here you see a scroll highlight, an image, a timeline. I didn't add the full timeline, and a call to action. And if I click edit now, you'll see, wow, it's opening in Drupal Canvas and not Layout Builder anymore.
Yes.
And I've made a lot of options. For example, the stream we are on now, you can select autoplay and it will start autoplaying, but muted, because it's really annoying when it's not muted. So if I would publish it now, it should start autoplaying, and we are a bit meta now because we're looking at ourselves.
That is pretty cool, yeah.
You can select position. So there are a lot of components in there. I have a small bug with the preview that I still have to fix. So this is not the final product. So I'm showing it really soon. So you have base components like buttons, subtitle, text, title. Then I have a lot of components, a call out, cards, card with icons, card with an image, frequently asked questions, gorgeous,
Mm.
you name it. I have different
Yeah.
layouts, and also already made page builder blocks that use the components, but I think I still have to rename it a bit. For example, if I would add the embed field now, this, for example, has an embed with a Shopify link iframe in it.
Okay.
So really a lot of components. And for example, if I would want to add a few components, for example, let's say, okay, we want to add a grid.
Mm-hmm.
The grid has a layout with 3 columns, and we're gonna add some gorgeous because we want to say the page is really bad in SEO. It's not, of course. And if we publish this, we go to the preview, you'll see that it immediately publishes everything.
Oh, very good.
So it's all using Drupal canvas now. And I think I still have 2 or 3 components to add. One is media gallery.
Yeah.
I've been putting that one off because it will be a bit complex. And what's the other one? Oh, I don't know it by heart.
Okay. All right. No, that looks pretty good. Okay. So now with the questions, because I've been also working on a Canvas project. So, well, with this media gallery, how are you planning to offer, like, have the ability to select which media you want to reference in that media gallery? So,
Yes.
so are you planning to have like a component that you drag over, and then you can go ahead and select your media?
Yeah. So, for example, here, image and text has one media item. Then it will have multiple items, and you'll be able to sort them there.
Yeah.
And then I'll probably add an option to do a normal gallery and also to make it a masonry gallery.
Yeah.
But the layout will be automatically done for you.
Okay.
The thing with Webhaven also is, so I've made all the components and I want it to be client showable from day one. So is this fancy? I don't know, but it's not ugly. So you can show it to people, but you can also override every component really easily without overwriting or undoing all my CSS. So I kept things at the minimum to make it a bit styled, but I didn't go crazy on the styling. And I'm also thinking about making sub-themes on it myself to have different flavors of Webhaven. But first we have to ship version 1, of course.
Absolutely.
We can't do everything at once. Too bad.
Absolutely. And so right now I can see the button URL. What type of prop is that? Is that like an autocomplete? The button URL.
The button URL here, so it's a URL field, and you can put external or internal URLs in it.
Oh, okay. So if you put an internal URL, does it reference an internal?
It should, yes. But I don't know if it's already working.
Oh, now, do you have a component? Do you have a component where you reference other nodes, like other content, just like an entity reference?
Good question. Not yet, but that's also one that's on the list. It's not something that's supported out of the box by Drupal Canvas now, but Webhaven
that's why I asked because it's one of the limitations that like the team that I'm working with kind of discovered, because we have, say, with paragraphs, we would have a paragraph component that would list out just a bunch of referenced nodes, and that's it.
Yeah.
And we're trying to rebuild that functionality in Canvas, and it's like, oh, we don't know. So I know
it will be custom.
Yeah.
For now.
Because I know that the web form block allows you to reference web forms, but what it does, I think I think it pulls in and uses the web form, uses
I
web form
made a
settings, or you
yeah,
made a
I
custom
made a
one?
custom one. So I made it myself. So Webhaven has a Canvas module with custom Canvas stuff that probably will get in Canvas sooner or later.
Yeah.
For example, here the web form component automatically shows all the web forms in the system, and it will render it automatically. So for example, if I now publish and preview the contact web form, and I'll say, hello, everybody in the stream,
Mhm.
and I'll send a message, it's not working.
Oh, you gotta love live demos, eh?
Maybe it's a problem in the it's a problem in the preview functionality, but it's working in the. So here you see the submission. Yeah, small bug in the preview. It's stuff that I did this week, so it needs a bit more testing. And another component, for example, that's totally custom is one that I really had a hard time with is the views.
Yeah.
So here it doesn't show that I have any views, but this lists all the views that have a view display of the type block, and then you can automatically select this display, and this already works, but I don't have one in this bare minimum setup. But for example, my blog, the Webhaven blog recipe, that's not installed now because it's the bare minimum, has a few views, for example, popular blog items, and this one you can also add, and it's also custom. And I have a few things that custom, for example, here the hide title. I want to be able to hide titles or breadcrumbs on pages because this is the H1 and I want it to be there for SEO, but sometimes I want to use an hero. So that's also stuff that I made custom. So yeah, it's
interesting. Well, okay. So with that, okay, so I can see that on the page data. So is that just are you intercepting a hook or something within Canvas? Is that it?
Yeah. So Canvas has an entity for the I don't know the name by heart, canvas page or something like that.
Canvas page.
And I alter the entity, but not with a hook. In the entity itself, I alter it with in the source directory, and then add to the base definition to these two checkboxes. And then when the entity is rendered, like here, when it's checked, I add the visually hidden class to title or the breadcrumb block or not. So it's a bit of a hack to make the visual pages.
Okay. So all that page data is kind of like the base properties on the canvas. On the canvas. Oh, I do. Okay, that's interesting.
So you can alter that entity.
Alter that.
And then, for example, the Webhaven base ships with a few pages. For example, a page not found. And then also something I'm really proud of is the prompt component. I made it yesterday or 2 days ago. And so people start with the website. You have a privacy policy page here. And you can see the prompt component. You can just add a prompt and select what providers should be shown. And if you click on a button, it will automatically open it with this prompt. And then you can start generating your privacy policy if you would like. This is also something I would like to add in if people add an AI key to their installation, that everything stays in the Drupal installation, but not everybody has an API key or wants to set that up. So it's just so they can work easier and faster.
Okay. All right.
And then there's also stuff like social networks. you can add a lot of social networks. For example, my Drupal.org, and then in the footer, I think for this one, I still have a bug where the caching is not invalidated automatically, and now you see the Drupal.org icon. So it comes with a lot of stuff by default.
No, very good. And so with those with that views component, how are you dynamically adding in options to the drop down to that prop? Are you defining a custom block type and then defining settings in the block type, and then that becomes a component?
So there's an SDC with two strings, one view and one view display.
Yeah.
And then for now, you can only alter the form. And in that form, I call a controller that fetches.
Oh, so it's just a form
everything
alter.
in. Yeah, it's a form alter. But when you select in the first form, it uses the form API and Ajax in the background, because when you select a view, it will automatically populate the displays of that view. And when you alter it, so without a page refresh, it will fix that. I should probably also look at HTMX. That's in Drupal now to sort that. But it's something that I've been working on in the last couple of days, and I'm mostly the type of guy. First, I want to have it to work, and then I'll optimize it, because otherwise I'm not moving fast enough and I get annoyed by it.
So then coming back, okay, all right, that's kind of good to know. Yeah, like because all this stuff is brand new. Like you should actually write blog posts about this, because these are questions that I've had over and over again with the team that I'm working with. It's like, all right, how do we implement these paragraphs components as Canvas components now? And it's all still brand new. So coming back to like my thing about having some component where you can easily select and reference entities, what I could essentially do, because I do believe you can have props that are multi-value.
Yes, you can, but they have a bug now.
There's always a bug.
I have a few, and I won't show you the bug now, but there's a bug, and there's an issue on it in Drupal.org. I'm also active in it. It's getting fixed, so I think it's going to get fixed really soon. But that's one of the big issues that I have now with Canvas that will fix the multiple fields. Also, one really big one is multilingual.
Okay.
That's also a bit of that will be, I think, a hard one to tackle, but it's coming. Then something that I also missed was now for media, you can only add images. And you say, but Fons, you're showing video. It's also made it custom.
Fons, you're showing videos.
Yeah, Fons, you're showing videos. Yeah, it's not using media now. But to be honest, media images I reuse a lot in websites. I don't reuse videos a lot. So I'm okay with the solution that I have now, where you just add the video URL. So you give in a YouTube or a Vimeo URL, and it will automatically render. But I take care of it, and it's also custom for now. That's one. So for example, downloads, files, media and files, it's not there yet. So that's one that's on my list.
It's all these little things that you don't know until you start building it, and you're like, wait, why can't I do this one particular thing?
Yeah, but you're right. I should really invest more time in sharing this. I think you're a good example of sharing with the community, but I've been so busy grasping everything myself
Well, in
the
a
last few weeks.
in a in a funny way, you know that saying, what is it? Those who can't teach. Sometimes I feel like that, where I have to kind of force myself, and as I was saying before before we went live, that for me,
Mm-hmm.
these live streams are kind of my way of shipping no matter what. Every week I need to go live. I need to go live. But there are some weeks where I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to talk about, honestly. It's like I've got no idea. It's like I've done like, I think like 88 live streams now on Drupal. It's like, what am I going to talk about? And so I do really appreciate like people like yourself that just go in there and just build things out, because with me it's like I have limited time because I am still doing like contracting work. And so it's kind of like, do I spend the time learning new things, or do I spend the time coming up with content? Because producing content takes a lot of time. But when Drupal Canvas came out, I spent like a week just building out a site using it, just to kind of get my head around it. But I mean, straight away, like, you have so much value to give. You should just, write about it. I'm sure you'll get a ton of traffic for that stuff. Especially modifying things like things like exactly like this stuff on the page data, like adding in custom properties that way. Straight away when I saw that, I was like, wait a minute, how are you doing that? And then when you explain, it's like, oh yeah, of course. Like, I kind of keep forgetting that this is still Drupal. You just do it the Drupal way, like a form. Like, honestly, I never really thought about, just doing a form alter. It's like, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the nice thing is now with 11.3, you can also use object-oriented code if you like. So you can ditch all the hooks.
Yes. I was playing around with I was actually doing a bit of customization on the Mercury theme. And at first I was like, all right, cool. So let me just open up the dot theme file. Oh, it's not there. I'm like,
it's not what? There.
I'm like, what? I'm like, oh, that's right. Because now theme hooks, now you can use attributes on theme hooks. And I saw that, and straight away I was like, okay, let me just test this out. And it worked. It's like, you just put your attributes in, yada, yada, yada. You've got your method. And I was like, all right, cool. Like there's so much stuff you can do there. But sometimes I have to kind of force myself to just like build things. And that's something that I've kind of been doing a fair bit lately, because I actually realized that during my, Drupal career, especially before I moved here, because I've been living in Croatia since mid 2024. So that's nearly, it's going to be soon, like a year and a half. And this is actually my second time living in Croatia. I lived the first time when I just married, when my wife and I married in 2012, and we lived here. But we decided to have kids back in Australia because that's where our family is, and it was easier. But then we kind of moved out away, like 2.5 hours away from our family, and then we kind of realized it's like, we're on our own. We might as well just, while the kids are young, go back to Croatia for a bit, travel. So that's why we're back here. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is that a lot of the projects that I worked on were like, I actually realized that for a while, for a couple of years, I didn't build a brand new Drupal project, because a lot of the projects, this was that, like, okay, now I'm going to go on a bit of a rant. Okay. So you have like Drupal's peak at like 2016. And I saw that with my traffic going to webwash.net, because I saw exactly at 2016, 2017, the traffic started to die down. And if you look at Drupal's in-stores, especially the Drupal project, or like Vue, or like, big projects, you will see that from 2016, they kind of trickle down, slowly down. And I feel like that period of 2016 to like probably, 2024, 2020, I would say like now, not a lot of brand new projects were created. So it was always just build out these projects. You're just doing the same thing over and over and over again, to the point where there was projects that I was maintaining that were still using like older versions of Node, like versions of Node that didn't have installs available for like the Apple Silicon. Okay, so you had to run your terminal using Rosetta to then download Node 13 or Node 14 that didn't have, that was still compiled on x86. It was just these like weird bugs. And so I kind of forced myself. It's like, no, Ivan, you need to start building okay, let's start building our projects. And that's why with like the streams, I've done a few streams where it's just like sit down and build something. And I think I mentioned to you like over X that I started building out a project that is kind of like 80-90% done, where it's using Radix. Okay. And
yeah, I know it.
And yeah. And the thing is though, when Canvas came out, and I can see that yes, they're using Tailwind and this and that. And I honestly had a moment where it's like, is pretty much, the way we the way we do things, I kind of had a crisis inside. It's like, did I just spend all this time building this stuff out? Who's going to be using Bootstrap? Bootstrap is crap. It's old. But the thing is though, I like Bootstrap. Like at the end of the day, use the right tool. And I think Bootstrap works well for CMSs.
I love Bootstrap, and I hate it a bit because Bootstrap is really nice. It's really nice out of the box, but I had a hard time. If you want to override it, I really had have a hard time with it. That's also when I said in Webhaven, when you want to edit stuff, I didn't want people to do a lot of rewrites. Also, from my experience with Bootstrap, it's perfect if you use it as it should be used. But if you want to go crazy on it, at least I don't know how to do it properly, and it became a maintenance nightmare for me. So
so then so what are you using for Webhaven? Are they is it Tailwind?
It's inspired on Tailwind. I use the same variables and stuff, but it has I don't know if you know, mvp.css rewrite. It's a classless, so it's a styling for the basics of a website, but it's classless, so it doesn't use any classes, and I like that a lot. So I implemented the mvp.css classless, and I worked on top of that, and I used stuff from Tailwind, how variables are used.
That's
and I
one
went
thing
from there.
That's one thing I really like with Tailwind, that you just go in there, adjust a few variables, and you can adjust a lot of them. And I kind of went through kind of like a learning phase myself, where I'm mostly a back-end. I'm a back-end developer, and I remember I was building sites even before divs were a thing, like table designs, Dreamweaver. In 2001, back then, there was this new thing called floats, that you can float divs and things like that. So I'll go back all the way there. So I'm always a bit lagging behind. And then when I see all the variable stuff, I'm like, first of all, it looks like code to me so many times, but I just use, like, if I really get stuck, I just use AI, and I don't get AI to write it for me. I just get AI to explain it to me. And that's one thing a lot of people don't quite appreciate with AI. And when I do that, I think about all the stuff that I do. It's like, well, I'm going to be obsolete soon, because people can just ask AI these questions. But you just ask it. It's like, why should I do it this way? And then it'll explain it. Like, I had some great. There was one. There was a recent issue that it was this. So I was playing around with Next. Have you heard of the Drupal, the Drupal Next project?
Yes.
That has, So for people who don't know, it is, you have a Next, like a Next.js front end and a Drupal back end, okay?
And a headless system.
Yeah, it's a headless system. And so I just followed the instructions, and I gave it the URL to ddev, but I gave it HTTPS. And for some reason, it wasn't loading up. Okay, it just wasn't working. And I was like, why? And I'm like, I've got no idea. Anyway, I chuck it into like Claude, and not even Claude code, and I just ask it, I've got this DDev site, I'm using Next.js, why isn't it working? And straight away it said the reason why it's not working is because the certificates that DDev uses are unassigned, and there's a security feature in Node.js. I had no idea about that stuff. It's like, but the funny thing is that I know it now. I know it.
Indeed. Yeah, how I look at it, so when I started out, I didn't know anything, and I had to ask a colleague who knew a lot, but there was a huge barrier because I was new in the company. Is this a stupid question to ask, Fons? I always... and there was a barrier, and now you just... it's like I have that person in a computer, so sometimes I'm a bit jealous for the people who start now, because you can learn a lot faster, and the knowledge compounds probably even faster. So
yeah, absolutely. And so I'm like, with me and AI. Well, now we're going to get into the AI talk. He was about to eventually, but it's like yes, I have had some nights where I'm just thinking and I'm trying to fall asleep, and I'm like, I've got no idea where this is going. Like, in the last couple, in the last like 20 years, we've had like, phases in technology. You had like, the .com boom, the .com bust, and then you had, mobile come out, the web 2.0, you had, the crypto boom. And then you had, remember NFTs? I mean, that's probably, I mean, that's like, okay, fair enough with like the crypto stuff. I kind of see like a very long vision of that. I'm kind of see value in that. But I'll tell you right now, nothing has changed my life more in the last, since my whole life, I would say, than AI. Like, yes, the advent of mobile phones was a big thing, but honestly, I think we could probably all deal with not being too dependent on our phones.
Yeah, I think it went slower. The process took a lot of years, and now it's rapid pace.
But I think like I've had conversations with a few people. I know that what was it, last year? No. Anyway, I was chatting to a few people, and they were like, oh, the AI stuff, oh, it's just going to be a fad, it's just going to be this. It's like, no, it's not. It's here. And the thing is, though, I don't know if you watched Drupal's Dries notes at Vienna.
Yeah.
But like when he mentioned, do we go into the storm, where it's like, I'm both terrified and excited at the same time, because, it's like, I just think about the way I use it, and I'm just always trying to think of, so what business can I make? Like, if you can easily just copy a SaaS application, and I do understand that there is a lot more to it. I don't know if you've noticed a lot on like X. It's like, especially if you follow the build in public stuff, you always kind of feel like some of that stuff's inspirational, but some of that stuff is kind of like, I can guarantee there are people there that have systems set up that are scouring all the social media platforms. As soon as somebody talks about some type of SaaS application, they just spend the money to literally build out that type of stuff. And then you can automate everything. You can automate the creation of content. You can automate everything. And there's going to be a point where people will just have that running. People now are probably having that running 24/7. And it's like, how are you meant to compete against that? It's like,
I'm more of an optimist, and I think how you differentiate will just be different. People buy from people.
Well, that's it. That's it.
When you're out there, when you're helping people, I still believe that will make the difference. And okay, the building perhaps is not the hardest part anymore, but we can build a lot faster. But customer experience, taking care of your customers, I don't know if automation alone is enough. For example, you have all the AI bots.
Yeah,
they work perfectly, but a lot of companies do a lousy job in implementing them. And the service, the service is really crap.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to get a human on the phone. So I think the companies that just reverse that can also be winners. So,
Oh yeah,
but I
totally.
get what you say, but I try to have this optimistic take
Oh,
about it. And like what you are doing, okay, you have the channels that are personless, or how is it called? Um,
oh yeah, like the AI stuff, AI channels and
yeah,
stuff.
but
Yeah.
is that what I don't know? People attract people and they buy from people.
Well,
So and no.
that's it. That's it. And I actually asked, like, I often have sessions where I just, ask like Gemini and Claude, and I go through all of them, and I ask them the same questions to kind of get a different opinion. And I think last week one of my questions was, is like, how can I, like, what type of content works well in this
Mhm.
world where it's just AI? And you actually came up with a few good ideas. Last week's stream was, I got the idea from asking Gemini, well, no, Claude, because Claude pretty much said that any type of like coding style, or this is how you build this and that can easily be done by AI. But what you need to do is talk about higher level concepts, and also add opinion to it as well,
Mhm.
because that kind of humanizes what humanizes you. And AI is very hard at giving you opinions. So that's why I think last week's stream was about paragraphs, components, and blocks. What should you use, when should you use it, things, trying to decide that. And I really try to focus on, okay, this is my opinion, this is when you should use it. And so when it comes to moments like that, that's where I've, spent a fair bit of time. It's like, okay, I really need to think about, trying to add the human factor into things. And I do think, like, yeah, Drupal's positioned pretty well, as like Dries was mentioning in the Dries notes about Drupal. But yeah, it is going to be interesting to see where the next few, how things happen over the next few years. I still think like have you played around with like the Drupal AI stuff?
Yeah. So Webhaven also has a recipe for AI,
Yeah.
but it's not on here, and it's not something that I'm focusing on now because it's the most shiny thing to work on. But I want to have the basics there.
Yeah.
But I already have a proof of concept on my computer where all the pages and the structures are automatically generated. But even then, I'm also thinking, for example, I'm thinking about a module, a sloppy meter or something. And if you just generate it with AI gibberish, that it will
Yeah.
say, this is orange. You shouldn't
Ah,
really you shouldn't really post it like this. And that it also gives you tips and tricks
yeah.
to, and that the human part still is really important. For example, design, front end. The results that I personally get are really not that good. Okay,
Yeah.
if you're using Tailwind, but it's copying. It's not
Mm,
creating something. It doesn't
yeah.
have taste.
Yeah. That's it.
Humans do. So
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I've played a fair bit with Drupal AI stuff, but I felt like it's moving at such a fast pace that every time I look at it, I'm always, it's always like, oh yeah, we're working on the next thing, working on the next thing. But one thing that I've been thinking a lot about, and especially my development process, is that, so yes, you can install the AI assistant, and you can
mhm,
ask it chat questions, oh, can you
mhm,
create a content type and this and that. But it's the last time I played with it. First of all, you need to be on a certain level with a certain payment level with OpenAI, because Drupal pushes a lot of tokens. Okay, so
mhm,
so yes, yes, you can ask it to create a content type, but you really need to go step by step, and it's a very slow process. Okay, you first create the content type, then you really need to specify, okay, create a field and this and that. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. When I actually practice these stuff before a live stream, it works perfectly. As soon as I'm in the live stream, the API goes down and something breaks and all that. But one thing I've been looking at and I'm really thinking a lot about doing is instead of doing it through Drupal AI, we need kind of an AI interface that works directly with Drush.
Yeah.
And I think that is where you don't have to set up anything in Drupal as long as you have Drush, because when you think about it, and I was spending I spent some time today because one thing I want to do is just make it easy to develop a content model. Okay, where you don't have to click around because I'm getting old and I literally, like, my wrists now. So I've got one of these type of side mouses.
Yeah.
I've got one trackpad. I've got another trackpad. Sometimes I use both because I'm right-handed. I use left and right trackpads just to kind of make it easy on my wrists. And like even today, I go to bars which are closed down to kind of do like pull-ups, chin-ups, and all that, and I have to kind of like take it easy. But so, for me, just being able to avoid clicking around, because, Drupal is very click-based development, but I would love a developer experience, because just imagine this as a developer experience. You spin up any standard Drupal site, all you need is Drush. And then you can specify, all right, create a content type, create this, and this. And that hopefully will be much faster than having to install the whole Drupal AI suite of modules, because you may want to work on sites that do not want that suite of modules installed.
Yeah, this is also something I'm experimenting a lot with. When I told you to make it AI first, if you like. For example, Webhaven has a lot of recipes, and it has content types in those recipes, and those content types are a collection of YAML files. So the YAML files are also documented by AI for AI. And the thing is, now with Webhaven, because I have such a good base with best practices, that I can just, I'm using mostly anti-gravity with models, but you could use cloud code. And I say, okay, we're going to make a new recipe, events. You can look at how the block content type is made in that recipe. And we're going to add this and this and this field, and it does everything for me. I import it. Sometimes I have to change a few things. I export the file back in the recipe, and it's done. And that's also stuff I should probably make more content about. But I used to click around in Drupal all the time. I don't think I've done that in the last couple of 3 months. I'm doing everything in the YAML files, and for AI, the YAML files is also an easy to understand format. So
well, that's it. I think everyone's, well, I know with myself, it's like, I want to build sites. I want to go back to just doing everything in code, not doing everything through Drupal's backend.
You can already, if you like. It's not ideal, but it's already there, and it will improve.
Exactly. You just export it out all out of config. But that's the same as so with like components and things like that. Have you played around with the UI suite?
No.
So UI suite is a suite of modules that is essentially a UI for managing components in Drupal. Okay. Which is great for like a no code or a low code solution, but it can sometimes get a bit difficult to know exactly which module is required and also how to just the Drupal UI, because it adds an extra layer of abstraction. But then straight away it's like, but then I can't utilize coding tools. Whereas I would rather have my components built out as single directory components and then just override a template and just embed that component in there. done. And so I've gone kind of like, I feel that, and this is something I want to cover, and I've actually had somebody on my stream ask this, and I think Talking Drupal did a podcast about this recently, well, a couple months ago, about using Drupal as a framework, like purely as a framework to build a website. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, it's like, how far could you get, especially now with HTMX? Okay,
Yeah.
with that stuff, because I've been playing around a lot with Laravel and things like that, and just to see the way they kind of pass in, like they have inertia, live wire, and a lot of these things, and Drupal's kind of got similar-ish type of stuff, but with HTMX now in core, and of course, it was available as a contrib module, but now that it's in core, it's like, okay, we can do some pretty cool things. We can do some pretty cool things, but you build everything like at the theme level, and then you just create your theme, your custom modules, your controllers, and it's not that different. Like even what is it? Laravel have single file components and things like that. And it's like, well, it's like we're all doing the same thing. It's like we're all doing the same thing.
Yeah, but the nice thing is, once you have a library, like in Webhaven, I now have a library of components. It's really easy because the best practices are there for the AI to say, this is good, use that as a basis, let's go. Because without those components, it had a hard time to figure out how Drupal was working. But now I have that covered. But for example, I'm not a front-end engineer, so AI helped me a lot with that. And also developer experience on the front-end side, for example, browser sync and stuff like that, is all stuff that I implemented. It's all there. And it's something that I'm investing a lot of time in. How can Webhaven improve developer experience for the people who are more back-end oriented, for the people who are more front-end oriented? And so they also, and a few years ago in our agency, one person was doing this, one person was only doing that. I think with AI, that's going to stop. So people have to jump over their fence and learn more about the other side. And AI is an enabler of that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And but the thing is though, like I actually now kind of feel like I've gone through kind of a reawakening, because I probably spent way too much time focusing on Drupal. And I'll tell you that right now. I think I should have dabbled, because I was always like, I can't do videos about things that I'm not an expert in. What if people find out that I don't know these stuff and things like that?
That's imposter syndrome.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. But then I was like, you know what? I'm going to do videos. I'm going to start doing videos about things that I enjoy. And if I'm learning about it, I'm learning about it. But using AI really has given me the confidence to be like, I know from an architectural level how this is meant to work. And, websites are the same. Like I always say this, websites are a bunch of forms and a list and array of objects. That's all what it is. It's a list of something and a bunch of forms. Every bit of website is the same. It's a list of something and a bunch of forms. And the MVC architecture, very similar across, all the platforms. And when it comes to languages, as long as you understand the concept, okay, I want an array here, I want a variable. Of course, you need to understand the nuances, const, var, var, all these type of little things. But it's all, if you have the experience, as soon as you're using AI, it's like, what, I can actually do a fair bit. I'm gonna do some pretty cool stuff with this stuff.
I don't think you need to know all the syntax by heart anymore.
No, you don't. Absolutely.
I never was the best coder, but I've always was good in understanding code and reading code. And now the AI does the heavy lifting, and I just jump in where it's needed. So for me, I'm more of a generalist. So I like to know. I'm not good at anything, but I know a lot about little stuff. And for me, in that way, AI really is a blessing. I think for people who go really deep in one thing, they might feel different about it. I don't know. But I couldn't have made what I have now in Webhaven without the models. That I'm sure of that. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I think nowadays, I think the generalist, it's funny. It's like in the last couple of years, I think it's preferred now to be more of a generalist and just use all the tools out there, because then you can really utilize and spread yourself across multiple things. It's like, as long as you understand the basics, you can kind of get by, and then you kind of learn at the same time. Like, I've been trying to build out, like, I've gone through like multiple iterations, and now this is probably my fourth iteration where I'm trying to build an internal system that can grab my live streams and then cut them up. Okay. Because yes, there are like services out there that do it, like Opus Clips, but the AI never does a good job at figuring it out. And so I've got my workflow where I want to just quickly cut it up, figure out the best parts, and then using Adobe Premiere Pro, I want to put in the chapter markers where there's a start and end. And so I can straight away say, okay, this part is good as a clip. This part is good as a clip as well. And then I want to automate then the rest of it. Okay.
Yeah.
So I've got a working prototype where I can give a local website the CSV file that Adobe generates for me of all the chapter markers. And then I give it a full-on 1 hour long video, and it goes there and then cuts them up, does a 16:9 like landscape. Then he automatically cuts a short form content where he centers the screen, and then adds in the title above, and also uses Whisper to transcode, and then adding captions. And he does all these, like, and then he even puts in logos. Now, it's using FFmpeg. So it actually, it's using FFmpeg, Node server, using WebSockets, and then to build out the vertical videos, it's using Remotion to kind of, which is a React library where you essentially define where you can have React components built out as videos. And so I've actually learned a lot about Remotion by using it, because I would look at the code and I'm like, wait, so where are my actual templates? And I would literally ask it, where are my templates where I can manage this? And then it'll say, well, no, actually, you define it here, here, and here, because I may want a different template. Say for WebWash, I've got a certain style where I've got the WebWash logo at the bottom of the video, the Drupal logo on the side. But what if I want to add a React logo, and I want a different background color? Where do I manage that? Do I manage that at the CSV file? Do I manage that in the component level? And then it'll tell me, no, what I recommend is you do this, this, and this, and this. And so I've learned a lot about that stuff just by using it. But one thing I realize is that Remotion is pretty slow. So sometimes if you get it to, process things, because the other thing is, like, I've got my specific like workflow where I don't like any vertical video to be longer than, say, 220 seconds, because
for the algo.
Certain platforms like YouTube treat vertical videos that are greater than 3 minutes as a standard video, and it doesn't treat it as a short. But so I like to kind of, and this system automatically cuts it up for me. Whereas before, I would just manually have to put in the, manually do it. Whereas my whole thing now is I chuck it into Premiere Pro, fix it up, give it to the system, wait an hour, and I've kind of got it working. I still need to work on it, but then it just generates it for me with the proper, like, everything cut up nicely. Of course, the next thing is now for it to generate the social media posts and all that, but that's going to come later. But what I'm trying to say is that I was able to learn all of that stuff. And yes, AI did most of the work, but I learned so much. at the same time.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's like, brain rot. I don't think so. Like, especially if you use it because you want to learn it as well.
Yeah, I think it's how you use it.
Yeah.
How you say it, you're more like an explorer.
Yes.
And you have more confidence to explore further. It's like you have a GPS and you'll know I won't lose
Yeah.
the track home. And you explore further and you're like a sponge.
Yeah.
And you keep learning and you learn stuff that you wouldn't learn otherwise. So
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think that's a good thing.
Yeah. No, that's it. That's probably the best way of explaining it. All right. So then with that, I mean, what are you excited about?
Mostly Drupal Canvas, also the AI stuff that we talked about in Drupal. It's moving really fast, but I think it's moving in the right direction. And also a sense of new life in the Drupal community. I was on a point last year that I was, okay, I invested so much time in Drupal. Is it time to do something else?
Yeah.
And then I took a step back and looked at other stuff, looked at Drupal, then I saw the initiatives, then the Vienna Drupal thesis note,
Yeah.
and then I was like, maybe it's time to take a more active role. And I feel like you have Drupal and it was moving to enterprise big projects,
Yeah.
but it's such a great technology. Maybe I should be one of the people that tries to pull it back
Yeah.
and for the smaller projects, and so they can also use Drupal. And that's also why I'm creating Webhaven, to take a more active role in the knowledge sharing and exciting people about Drupal and making Drupal the pie bigger again.
Yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
I'm really positive about where it's going now. And if people take an active role in it, and if we all try to be ambassadors a little more, then I think everything will be all right. And I tweeted about it today. I think Drupal and the stock market have one thing in common, or stocks have one thing in common. A stock has a valuation.
Yeah.
And I think the market now doesn't value Drupal as what it is, and that will change in 2026, and that it will grow again.
Yeah.
The adoption.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I was kind of the same, like in a similar thing where the last couple of years, probably up to like up to like last year or like 2024, things like that. No, like so probably up to like 2023, where I had moments where I was like, yeah, I've kind of written too much. I've done Drupal for too long. But then in the last couple of years, since I've been doing like the live streams and things like that, I've seen that, there's still people still on content, which is good. Like there's still, I can kind of gauge that there is demand for Drupal. And I still think like when it comes to a lot of the functionality that Drupal gives you, it's hard to find competing platforms out there, especially when it comes to like content moderation. Like that's, when it comes to content moderation, being able to manage revisions, having a granular permission system, to get a CMS with that level of functionality and that powerful level of functionality, you have to buy some proprietary system. And I've, over the last like 10 years, I've always like at a few places that I've worked at, they've often said, it's like, let's have a look and see what other platforms are out there. And it's like, yeah, you can use other platforms, but Drupal still has a edge when it comes to like content modeling, like managing the content and things like that. But I know personally now, I want to look at, where I can utilize Drupal, but utilize other technologies with it. And that's one thing I want to try and do this year with like my content. Like still do, standard Drupal, standard Drupal live streams. Like I'm waiting for the next version of Drupal when I think Gin will be the default backend theme, because I like to always organize my videos when there's a big change, because
Yeah.
as soon as the backend changes, my videos start to look dated. So it's kind of like, you know, I've got live streams about, the basic, covering the basic stuff, like getting started with views, paragraphs, fields and things like that. But I just want to wait for, a nice with Gin to come out. So maybe when no, Drupal 12, I think, because I thought 11.3 was meant to get Gin as the backend.
It was meant to get in there, but I think because Canvas was also in there, that it just consumed most of the attention,
okay.
which is, I'm not sure, but my feeling was that there was a lot in 11.3, performance gains, HTMX. We got rid of all the hooks. You don't need to use hooks anymore. Canvas. So I think it was just too much. Which is understandable.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's coming.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, one thing I want to look at a fair bit is like utilizing Drupal as kind of like a backend, like really utilizing it, because that's where I think, I don't know, like especially seeing the benefit of AI, and I can really see now the benefit of being able to spin up like a Next.js site using Tailwind, because it's so it's so ubiquitous, it's everywhere. Imagine a world where somebody can spin up a backend, because all the logic, I'd hate to say it, but all the magic and logic happens most of the time in the backend. Okay, that's where a lot of it happens. And yeah, yes, it happens in the front end as well. But imagine being able to pick and choose off a shelf. Okay, I want to be able to do this, and this, and it's just a Drupal backend, and you can have all this functionality, and then use AI to generate the front end for you. You could be in a situation like that.
Perfectly possible. I think the CRUD actions are now with AI.
Yeah.
To me, it feels like CRUD is solved by AI, and then the other layers you can still add. But
absolutely. And so yeah, I do want to plan out a few live streams just for any listeners if they want to know. That I want to plan out ones on how to integrate Drupal with, say, Astro, like Astro JS, Vue, React, Next.js. What is it? Tan Stack. What is it?
Tan Stack. It's getting really popular.
It is.
I read a lot about it.
I know. Keeping an eye out on that stuff, and just like showing like best way. It's like, here, use Drupal as a backend, because again, the hard thing is always the backend. Also offering like, all right, why pay for expensive search? Why don't you use Drupal Search API, which is like Search API for me personally is like such a powerful thing. Just the ability to create custom search pages. Why don't you use Search API and Drupal as a backend search engine, or like a RAG backend, and then just use any front end you want, and you can host it for like dirt cheap. Like, it's so much value in that.
It's on the Webhaven roadmap to have a recipe with Search API and a vector database.
Yeah.
And the idea would be that you could, for example, I'm selling air conditioning stuff, and I have all these manuals.
Yeah.
People don't read manuals. Even if I have to put them on my website legally, no one reads them, and they call me, and we have a whole support center, but no one likes to do that. So that you can just prompt the vector database, and you can ask, I have error code F10 on this device, help me, and it gives you the answer right away. So this is stuff that probably is quite easy out of the box with Search API if you hook it up to a vector database. It's something that I'm looking into at the moment also.
Yeah. I think the last time I had a chat about this stuff, apparently it's supported by a search, AI search module already using the standard database backend. You don't even need anything fancy. Like it's somehow, from what I heard, it's pretty easy to set up. And also a lot of the database vendors now are starting to offer, like the newest versions are working a lot better, are pretty much having some type of like vector engine or something, like where in the future you're not going to have a separate system. Your own database will be able to essentially do it to a certain extent.
Yeah, I was on the Talking Drupal podcast, and they told me there that even Apache Solr has a way to do it already.
Yeah.
But I haven't found the time to look into it.
Yeah. I think Apache Solr 9, I think.
Yeah.
Because
to me, I would love to keep it separated, because if you have for example, the Solr that has all the vectors, it's easier to scale.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah,
but again,
totally.
It's not needed, but it's easier to scale.
Yeah.
But yeah, interesting stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because one thing I want to think about, well, one thing I've been planning to do, so I need to make a confession. So webwash.net is a WordPress site, believe it or not. And
I know.
I know. Oh yeah. Oh, that's right. That's how we started talking. You sent
I
me
send you a message. Yeah.
Oh, I just remembered that right now. That's right. You did send me a message.
Dude, what's going on here?
I know. Yeah. Anyway.
So it can become a Webhaven website.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've been thinking about it. Like, it's one of the, like, a few times I've thought about, you know what, maybe I could spin this into like a whole bunch of live streams and all that, you know, rebuilding the site. And maybe I will eventually. But right now, it's like you have to pick your battles. Like, you really need to just pick your battles.
Yeah,
and it's
I
like,
know.
I can't, like, you know, I would love to be able to work on this stuff full time, but I can't. Like, I've got, you know, I still need to bring in money, and like, yeah, I do have the premium community. So thank you to all the people that have purchased it, and I've made sales, but nowhere near
Purchase
enough
it.
Purchase.
If you're watching now, if you want to see this content, you know what to do.
Absolutely, yeah, that's it. But yeah, it's one of the things that I will maybe do in the future. But one thing I've been doing lately is like building out custom index pages, okay? Like listing out, because right now I'm trying to get all of these live streams on the site. And I'm like, I want a separate page where it's got filtering and facets. And of course, you need to pay for a plugin. I don't want to pay for a plugin for that. It's like, oh, you know, search API, views, facets, I can do all that stuff. But then I was thinking, wait a minute, how hard would it be to integrate, to actually have a Drupal instance that just indexes my WordPress content? And then I was like, wait a minute, I could actually possibly sell this stuff as well. Because I'm sure there'll be heaps of people out there, like fully open source, host it yourself. Okay, most people don't deal with hundreds and thousands of pieces of content. If you can easily spin up, you know, wherever you host your Drupal or wherever you host your WordPress site, host a Drupal site, and then have a fully integrated system where you have Drupal as a backend, and then using recipes and things like that. Like, that's where you can really, that's where I think the future for Drupal could really be. But then I thought the same thing with distributions a long time ago. I was the same as well.
Are we gonna talk about distributions today? We're celebrating Drupal. We're not.
Oh yeah, we need to talk about distributions. But you know, I always said that you can build a WordPress in Drupal, and you could, but yeah, with distributions.
Is that legal?
I don't know. I remember Drees's blog post. I think he wrote one like 2007 or something about distributions and all that. And it's like, yeah, it does kind of work, but no, it's like, it's not hard to maintain.
It's a bit, if you think about it, if you've done it, it's always easy to say it afterwards, but it's a bit of against the spirit because you're so locked in.
Yeah.
And Drupal, so to me, it's easy to say to people, if it's a good fit, go for Drupal. Why? Because you can jump so far with it, and it will take you a really long time until you have technical limitations with it.
Yeah.
So it's a safe option to say because you can do so much with it.
Yeah.
And with distributions, you're really locked in. And
Exactly.
there's a wall that's really, so it can be good for 2-3 years, and then all of a sudden you hit the wall. So yeah, it's one of those ideas that's good on paper, but in the real world it didn't work out and we moved away from it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the
Absolutely.
same thing with features in Drupal 7. We had features, but we didn't have configuration management. I don't know if you built features in Drupal 7.
Oh yeah.
I
use
had a
features
lot of nightmares, and then you had a feature, and then you had a lot of install hooks and one big mess, and then you had to push it to production, and then you had to pray to the gods that it would work. And now it's something you don't even think about anymore. It's the most normal thing in the world to just push things to production. I mostly do it on Friday evening, just before I log off, because it works so well.
Well, all right. I'm going to be the opposite, slight opposite to that. I know yesterday I was cleaning up a Drupal site, and it was a Drupal CMS site, and when I wanted to delete a content type, and this is something I always tell people, never ever delete it directly in code. Always go through the back end and have a look and see what config is being deleted. Because sometimes with the config dependencies, it wanted to delete a ECA model, because Drupal CMS has the, I don't know if you know, but Drupal CMS has the basic SEO recipe. And this recipe adds a bunch of fields whenever you create a content type, like SEO based, fields. Okay. The way it does it is that it actually applies a recipe. So you can actually configure ECA to apply recipes. But then when you create a content type, it then adds those fields that it's created as config dependencies on that recipe. So if you go ahead and delete that content type, it's going to delete the fields, and then it's going to delete that recipe for you.
Okay, that's not good.
You may not want that recipe to be deleted, because then you're going to lose functionality. So that's one thing I discovered yesterday. The other config one was, deleting a workflow, okay, that's been used, but you have deleted all the content. What it does is that it doesn't clean up rows in the content moderation state table. So you can't delete the config unless you go in there and write a simple drush command to clean it up for you.
Yeah, or yeah.
It was all these little things.
You probably have a garbage collection way, but not by default.
I don't know. That was a fun one. But also there was, I did break canvas as well, because I deleted a bunch of views that were canvas components. And so there were views blocks. And what happened was it kept the canvas YAML file, but removed the reference in that YAML file. So I just had to go in there and kind of like clean up and just kind of remove a few things.
It's something that I've seen in Drupal Canvas installations, the usage of views, and that's why I made my own component where you just reference it, because then if it doesn't find the view or if it doesn't exist, it catches it automatically and it just says no view. So that's one of those things that I'm not that I'm thinking, is this the best approach? I don't know.
Yeah, that's it. But but coming back to like config management, absolutely, I think it's been great when it was released. Because I remember features when you had to do the import exports, and it would just randomly fail and not work. And but I do think now features should be used to create recipes. It should be.
I've tested. You have the Ratatouille module.
Yeah.
I've tried it and I had a hard time with it because it was the different approach. It took everything and I had to clean it out.
Yeah.
And it felt really overwhelming for me. And it was, oh, I'm not in control here. So now I'm for Webhaven, the recipes are all, I'm doing it manually. But it's really, I can set up a Webhaven project in a minute. So it's really easy to test all the changes.
Oh, that's good.
And for example, something that's in Core 2 now is content export. So
Yes.
it used to be with an extra module. So for example, the empty state that I showed earlier, all those exports, which are in fact YAML files for the Canvas pages, menu links, media items, it's all done with Core stuff now. Also stuff that I should make content about, probably. I have a long list of stuff. But I'm more thinking about building challenges.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
but I don't know if it's a good idea. But then you learn it by doing it, and there might be some things at the moment when you're doing it that you don't really get, but you just push through it, and then afterwards you say, okay, that was for that.
Yeah. Well, the most important thing is just you learn by doing. That's one thing. That's one thing I've kind of I kind of force myself to do, because there was also there was somebody on X that was that I discovered just a couple of days ago, and I saw his GitHub account, and literally every, like, you know, the GitHub graph, like little thing, it's like every day there was something. And this person seems to have just created a whole bunch of projects, open source projects, and just open source, just builds it and ships it, builds it and ships it. And I have so many little like apps that I've built using, you know, Gemini, like Gemini Studio, because even Gemini Studio, like the AI.Gemini, what is it? Oh, I don't know, one of the web pages, there's an actual like a app builder in Gemini, and you can actually build pretty decent little applications using React. So I've got it to build out like simple things such as converting a thumbnail, like a landscape thumbnail to vertical. Okay, because for me it's all these little things that really slow me down. It's like, oh, I need to convert this, I need to convert that. And I actually thought, it was like, you know what, maybe I'll just get all the stuff that I've done, that I've got everywhere. Like I've even got little scripts that help me group files locally in the terminal, just so I can see which ones are taking up the most space. You know, little things. It's like, well, why don't I just, as kind of like a practice for me of just shipping, just get it out there, get tests, you know, just go through a process. These are just basic scripts, like just bash scripts, but it's something just to get out there. I can talk about it. You know, it's just like push it out, push it out, push it out, and just get into the habit of, all right, do something for free. Who cares? I don't need it. It's out there. And so I've been kind of like inspired, if you would say, of, you know, thinking like that. You know, because I've also got a version of my clipper, like my video clipper, written purely in Bash, like purely in Bash, that I got Gemini to write like a year ago. You know, it's like pure Bash. And so I thought, you know, well, I'll fix that up, get it working, post it up, and be done with it. So, yeah. So maybe I'll do that stuff.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, that's it. Promote. All right. Well, let's just finish up then. I mean, do you have any other parting words you want to give out to the world?
Maybe if people look to Webhaven, and if they see on webhaven.io, they can get notified when it launches.
Oh, there you go.
Look how it works. There's a demo. It's the version that's still using Page Builder, but there's a lot in there. I'd love to hear from people, get feedback on it. That would be great. Maybe the building challenges, if it's a good idea, maybe some building challenges that they are thinking about, portfolio website, or stuff like that, and then that would be awesome.
All right, cool. All right, cool. Yeah. And yeah, I guess I have to promote my stuff. I really haven't promoted anything. But yeah, just head over to webwash.net. Grab if you want to check out the premium community to support this channel, you can go check it out there. But no, like, thank you very much for joining me, Fons. It was a great conversation. It was actually great to have you. Now, to be honest, the only reason why I called you on is because I want to ask you all these Drupal canvas questions. No, I'm joking.
It's okay. Did I do
No,
well?
yeah. Well, no, you gave me so many ideas now. I want to actually test out. I've got a few ideas that I need to kind of play around with now, especially creating like custom component. What is it? The props and things like that. So
Yeah.
you gave
Yeah,
me
I
some
can
great
show
ideas.
some stuff. I'm always talking about Drupal is one of the things I love to do the most. So
Yeah,
reach out, and I'm happy to share. And also, if people ask me stuff, then I know, okay, this is something I have to write about, because now I'm just mostly working on stuff and
yeah,
thinking about it myself. So I love to have the interaction.
absolutely. Well, here you go. Here's a comment right here. Let me bring that up. I like how Webhaven is fast. Well, there you go.
Yeah, it is fast. It's something that I've put in a lot of time. So yeah, thanks.
Well, the trick is to not use any framework, like CSS framework, because
No.
you want, yeah, exactly. So you just go vanilla. You're like, you know what, I'm going to do it by hand. Do it
Yeah, and
absolutely.
it's also Drupal 11.3. Drupal
Oh,
also does a lot of the heavy lifting.
yeah.
A lot of stuff that was in the advanced aggregation contrib module is in core since Drupal 11.3 or 2. So yeah, Drupal got a lot faster also.
Also, advanced aggregation stuff went in as well. I know that
Yeah,
a lot of big pipe
a
stuff went in as well.
Yeah, a few parts of
Oh, there you
the
go.
advanced aggregation went in, but not in 11.3. It was, I think,
Okay.
the version before.
Yes.
But yeah, speed is important for me.
Oh yeah. Well, the trick with speeding up Drupal is to make sure you don't bootstrap Drupal at all. The trick is to cache it so hard that that you don't touch it. That's kind of my thing. It's like put a CDN in front of it and you'll be fine. But I'm joking. No, man. Thank you so much for coming on. Like, had so many questions. Maybe the best way I'll get the content out of you is to just to invite you back on and say, all right, let's talk about hosting
That would be
Drupal.
cool.
It's like hosting Drupal. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
That's one of those things. Yeah, I'll bring
That's
you
an
up.
idea.
That's
Maybe
it.
that's the hack also for me to
That's
get
it.
going with
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Because doing content's annoying, but you have to kind of do it to promote things anyway. All right, cool. Well, let's just finish up there. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Don't really know the numbers, but no, it was a great chat. Happy birthday to Drupal, 25th. Here's to, well, I don't have a drink, but what is it? Bottle.
I have some water.
Oh, there you go.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers. Here's to like another 25. Oh man, 25 years. What's going to happen on the 50th? It's going to. Oh.
Are we gonna do another one in 25 years?
Yeah, why not?
Rise?
Who knows what's going to happen in 25 years? I'll be.
Okay, I'll be here.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'll be old.
I hope.
Anyway, that's it. All right, cool. Well, let's just finish up there. All right, cool. All right, see you later, everyone.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks.